Hey everybody, it's Taylor, and today's session we're going to be walking through every single element of the high ticket sales scripts. And this is all word for word. This is a newer script that we've tested and it's beaten all of our other scripts. We've been doing high ticket sales for a long time. We've done multiple seven figures in several different industries, selling on the phone. And so we've used a lot of different flows, a lot of different scripts. This is by far the most powerful and the most fine-tuned. So I'm going to walk you through it. But before we get started, just a quick some bits of homework for you. Grab a notebook. You can buy just a plain notebook like this, a yellow notebook from Amazon. They're very cheap, and get 8 to 10 of them, as you can just buy them in bulk. And however you're currently doing sales, when I switched from taking notes on a computer or on Evernote or with a device, and I switched to taking notes on with a piece of paper and a pen, my sales percentage skyrocketed. I can't explain it. I don't know exactly why it is. But I've talked with other guys, some buddies who are in this industry as well. The same thing happened with them. Most of the people that I talk to that are top sales closers, they don't have a computer in front of them. They're not open to any type of distractions. They're literally taking notes with a pen and a piece of paper. And you can see here I've got just dozens of calls that I've just got notes from people that I've talked to on the calls, just writing down notes. And it's amazing because it just has a way of actually forcing you to sink in and empathize with the prospect. And it's all about empathy. If you can empathize and you can actually relate to the person, they're going to trust you, right? So let's walk through this. This is my personal script. I've printed this out and it's gone through dozens of changes and updates and tweaks. This is the latest. And as soon as I find something that works better, I'll record another training for you so you can use that. This is going to be transferable to your industry. You can maybe change some of the words around, make sure that it fits you. Obviously, you have to adapt it for your market. But every time that I sit down to do a call with someone, a strategy session, I make sure that I read through this top part here. I've just got a paragraph here at the top and some points here at the bottom. But the goal here is that you get into the doctor's psychology before getting on the phone. What do I mean by that is basic life or death. Your job is diagnosis. It's not to convince anyone to do anything. It's not to manipulate or force or coerce someone to make a decision that is against their best interest. You think about when you go into a doctor's office and something's hurting, they're going with the pain and they're looking for a solution. They want to come out with a solution. You got to get into that mindset on these calls. There's no pressure. There's no tactics that are forcing people to do anything. Literally, this script is just designed to find out where people are hurting, what's causing the pain, what's causing the problem, and then make an accurate diagnosis and a prescription for them to get better. Okay? So another thing to think about is the issue of price. So a lot of our clients come in and they end up charging way more than they've ever charged before. And that's awesome, but it's also scary. And so I don't know where you are, if you are coming in already used to high ticket or if you're coming in charging low price and you're now getting into the high price, but this is all psychology. Price really is so contextual that it doesn't even exist unless it's anchored to something else. So if you think that $5,000 is expensive, it's only because you're anchoring it to something that is less than $5,000. So remember that really price objection, doesn't exist. People don't have price objection when they are fine-tuned and accurately presented with the cost of doing nothing, when they understand the cost of not fixing their problem, and then you can link your price and your fees to that cost. It's usually going to be cheaper to work with you than it is going to be for them to figure it out on their own. So you take us, for example, if you were to try to figure out our entire system by yourself, feel free. And that's our posture on the phone. You can go and try to figure this out on your own all you want. It's going to cost you in lost clients. It's going to cost you in doing it wrong. It's going to cost you in picking the wrong software and not creating the proper language for your market. It'll end up costing you much more than the investment to work with us and just get that shortcut. And then think about time too. A lot of you are selling an accelerated way. So if you're a health coach, you are selling the ability to get those results faster than they would have been on their own. So keep that in mind. Price barriers don't exist. When people are having price barriers, they just don't understand the cost of inaction. And that's kind of what you have to remind people of. The third thing is people are coming to you because they have no idea how to do something that you know how to do. All right? Something that you are obviously very good at. So keep the economics here in your favor. All right? Don't think that you're getting on the phone with people trying to convince them to do something they don't want to do. Remember that they're experiencing pain, obviously, or they wouldn't have signed up for you to work with you. And your job is literally just to see, are you a fit? Are you not a fit? Find out where it's hurting, prescribe the solution, and let them make a decision. Okay? It's all a head game here at this point. Getting 10,000, 15, 20,000 bucks for whatever it is that you do is all about the head game, how you're thinking about it. Okay? Record the call. Always record your call. We record everything with Skype or freeconferencecall.com. Have a pen and notepad in front of you. Again, feel free to take notes using your computer. That's fine. But what I like to do is close down all the distractions, put my laptop to the side, and just use a pen and a piece of paper and just take out notes, old-fashioned, with a good old trusty notebook. Turn all your devices off. And this is big. Release your attachments to someone saying yes. All right. If you need the sale, you're not going to get it. So people can feel that. People can feel it when you need something, and just release all that. The goal of your strategy session is not to get a sale. It's to diagnose the problem and to figure out if someone's a good fit. And that's a little bit backwards. Okay, so you got to let go of that. Emotionally, you got to make sure you're not tied to the yes. You're not tied to the outcome. You don't care about the outcome. You just want to make sure that you're able to help someone and that you can match them up if it's appropriate. And then whenever the appointment is, dial the minute that it turns to that time. So if it's at 1:30, at 1:29 in 20 seconds, have the number in your phone and dial them as soon as it hits 1:30. All right. This alone has helped us decrease no-shows. I used to call like a minute early or wait 40 seconds. And honestly, when you dial right at the time, people respect that. They feel like you're valuing their time, so do that. Okay? Okay. All right, so let's walk through this script. And this is a video you'll want to watch repeatedly. You're not going to get it in the first time. I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time learning how to sell on the phone. So you're not going to get it the first run through. You're not probably going to get it the second. By the third or fourth, you'll start understanding how things are put together, right? So the first part is the open, and the open is all about rapport. And the goal of the open is just to establish the call, get the person's some small details, where are they from, just building a little bit of rapport, making sure that they feel comfortable. So typically when I call, I just say, hey, is this John? Awesome, John, this is Taylor from Traffic and Funnels. How are you? Cool. Where are you from, John? Nice. Is it cold out there? And just kind of talking to them like I was meeting them at the grocery store. You're just developing a little bit of rapport, putting the person at ease, and lowering those sales walls that they're going to have. All right. You don't want to go too long. Make sure you keep this to like 20 seconds or less. Very quickly. How's it going? Awesome. You having a good day? Awesome. Where are you from? What's the weather like? Cool. Well, awesome. If you're ready to go, we can go ahead and get started. Okay. And it's very important to just say we can go ahead and get started and then pause. And they'll say, yep, let's do it. Okay. And then you move on to the next part, which is setting the agenda. And this is where you actually define the roles of the rest of the conversation. So some people are not used to being in a position where they're following someone else. And the problem is if you get someone who wants to take charge and they want to lead at the very beginning of the call, you're never really going to close that person. And so while we're respectful, every single call that we have, we make sure that, we set the lead and we take the lead and set the agenda right at the beginning. So how I'll do that, say, awesome. Well, John, let me quickly explain how today's call is going to work. I'm just going to start by asking you some questions about your business and your application, which I have here in front of me. And then if it sounds like, we can help you, and if it sounds like we're a good fit, then I'll explain what we have and how it works. And then at the end, if it makes sense for you, you can make a decision about whether you want to be a part of it or not. And then I pause. I don't say, sound good. I don't say, is that okay? I don't say, will that work for you? I just pause. I let that silence sit there. And what I'm doing is I am just letting them know that there will be something to offer. And I'm telling them that I am the one running the call. Okay. Say okay, or they'll say awesome, or they'll say, yeah, sounds great, or they'll say okay, or whatever. And then you can move on. What happens if they say, okay, well, what happens if they try to take the lead here, which has happened before, where they may say, I'll say, you can make a decision about whether you want to be a part or not. And then John will say, okay, so what software do you guys use to run your webinars with? And they're asking a question out of line, and I've just told them what we're going to do, and they've gone around that. And so what I'll just say is, cool, well, we'll get to that. So John, the first thing I want to know is, what is it that motivated you to take the time out of your day and schedule a call with us? Okay, so I'm going to move right into my next point. So I want to understand why that person is here. So even if someone says, yeah, well, I only have a little bit of time, and I really just wanted to know if you guys can help me. Awesome. Well, John, I would love to figure that out. I don't know, but the first thing I would like to know is, what is it that motivated you to take the time out of your day to schedule a call with us? All right. It doesn't matter what they try to do. I'm going into the next point. If they continue to be a bother, I just get off the phone with them. One time we had a guy who was going through the scripts, and I said, I said, you can make a decision about whether you want to be a part or not. And he said, how long have you guys been in business? And I said, cool, I'll get to that in just a second. The first thing I need to know from you is just why you scheduled the call with us. And he said, listen, he's like, I know what you're doing, but let me be clear. This call is not about you qualifying me. It's about me qualifying you. There are other people that I can work with. And I said, okay, it's not going to be a good fit. Have a good day. And I hung up with them. It is not worth your time. You will never close someone who is that arrogant and alpha, and they can't even follow instructions. So don't even waste your time with them. And honestly, even if you were to close someone like that, they're going to be a pain. You're going to hate your life and hate your business and wish you wouldn't have closed them, because they're always going to be trying to buck the system and take the lead away from you. So don't cave in if people are being that way. Get off the phone with them, and they're not a good lead, not a good fit. All right. So the next step is really understanding why that person is here. What problem prompted them to take action and fill out an application to talk with you? Okay, so John, what is it that motivated you to schedule a call with us? And he'll say, whatever it is. Let's say he's in the health and coaching space. Maybe he says, I've been trying a long time to lose weight, and I finally got my diet in order, and it still isn't working. Like, I'm still overweight, and it's just not good. And then you can prod a little bit here. Sometimes people will give you everything you need to know in this first question. That's awesome, but it rarely happens. Most of the times you have to prod. You have to say, tell me more about that. What do you mean? Or if someone says, well, I just need more leads, tell them, why? Why do you need more leads? You want to get down to the root issue. Maybe my business has been growing, but it's starting to stagnate out. Okay, well, tell me more about that. What do you mean by that? Well, I'm not getting enough customers anymore to pay my bills. Okay, well, what have you done to try to fix that? Well, I've tried to do referrals and blah, blah, blah. John, how long have you been dealing with this? About the last 8 months. Okay. So you kind of get into how long they've been dealing with it, what they're struggling with, what it means to them, what the problem really is. And then you can move on once you have an accurate understanding of why they're here on the phone with you. And then the next part is learning how to understand what it is that they sell. I was having a conversation with a friend not long ago, and we were talking about this. He was asking kind of what our model is for selling. And this guy does a lot of money in sales as well. He has his own business that's doing really well. But the problem with what he was doing is he was not spending enough time on this part, understanding their business, because he would get a client and the prospect would come in, and when they would tell him what he was selling and kind of tell him the process, they would talk and he would already kind of understand. He's selling to the same market. He's selling to the same group of people over and over and over. So he already understands. He already understands like the ideal customer. He already understands the problems that they're facing. And so he was skipping over this, and he wasn't closing as much as he should be. And I had to tell him, understanding people's business is more about making sure that the prospect understands that you understand, if that makes sense. All right, so there's two sides here to this part 4. The first part is you want to understand what they're selling. You want to understand their process. You want to know. You can't help people if you don't understand. But even more importantly is you want the person on the other side of the phone to feel like you get them. You don't want them to feel like you're just rashly putting together a cookie cutter fix and serving it to them. You want them to feel like you're actually taking time to listen, taking time to ask questions, taking time to take notes, and they should feel like you understand their struggle, their business, what they've tried to do. It's all about them. And so you might be a health coach and you might already understand, oh, if they're not going to the gym, that's their problem. But the thing is unless you ask them questions about the rest of their life, why are they not going to the gym? Do they have kids? Do they have stressful situations in their life that are causing them to want to eat different? If that prospect doesn't feel understood, then it doesn't matter what you understand. If they are not aware and if they don't believe that you understand them, that's the biggest thing. So we go into a series of questions here. We just say, what are you selling? How are you pricing it? Who's your ideal customer? What are the things that you're doing now to get clients? What problems are your clients or your customers facing? And what's the process from taking a stranger to a paying client? The reason I have this highlighted is because for our product, this is a very important trigger, right? So what are we selling at the end of the day? We're selling security and dependability of client acquisition. And that is a process. And so it's very important for me to pull out of these prospects, do they have a process? Is the process working? Why isn't the process working? What does their process even look like? And so I'm asking a lot of questions here so that the prospect feels like I fully understand their situation and I can accurately diagnose the situation. Back to the doctor friend. What if you go into a doctor and you sit down and the doctor walks out of the office? He says, what's your name? You say, my name's Taylor. He's like, okay, well, you need to take this and this, and he makes you a prescription. And you just say, no, what? You don't even know it hurts. Like, you haven't even asked me any questions. Like, you would not trust that person. What does he have to do? He has to ask you questions. Where does it hurt? How long has it been hurting? Have you taken any other medication to try to fix it? Has there been a life change recently that might have caused, your elbow to go out of whack or whatever? He's got to actually understand the context, and you have to understand the context as well. So then, once you feel like you understand the prospect and where they are and what they're dealing with, then you move into another section, which is all about extracting their pain. Okay, and this is where you're going to start linking up their current situation with the emotional consequences of staying stuck. Okay, so examine their pain. So I'll ask them, do you have a process in place for getting clients and customers whenever you want them? Now, some of you might think, well, that's a little bit repetitive. Yes, it is repetitive, but I'm reinforcing a point. What is the sales process, John, for getting customers? Well, we don't really have one. We just kind of go door to door. Okay, awesome. So do you have a process in place for getting clients if you wanted them? No. Okay, well, getting him to answer no is important. So I'm going to kind of go through some of this, and some of it's going to be a little repetitive. Are you comfortable, John, relying on this style of operating and growing your business? He's going to say no. You're just getting some commitments from him. And then you got to understand the money. How much money are you making per month with this business right now? Depending on your market, you might not need to use this question. You could use a million other questions. If you're selling, let's say you're selling, you wanted to create clients for a speed reading. You're a speed reading coach. You could say, what have you tried to do to increase this? What are the consequences? Maybe they're getting bad grades. And then you could say, how much is this problem really worth fixing to you? If you fail out of this last semester of college, what does that cost you? And no matter how you do it, you want to always at least start bringing it back towards the monetary side of things, because you're going to have to anchor them. Remember, we talked about price anchoring earlier. You're going to have to anchor them towards the cost of inaction. And so you want to start bringing up, what is the cost? What is the losses if you don't get this under control? The way we do it is, John, what are you making per month with this business? $13,000 a month. Okay, great. Where do you want to grow this business in the next 12 months? And you might say, I want to get it to $40,000 a month or $140,000 a month. No matter what it is, that gap that they just created is our anchor. Okay, so if they're making 13, and they want to get to 140, that's a pretty big jump, but that's the anchor that we're going to use. And now I want to know what the motivation is. So I want to know not only what it is that they want, but I want to know why it is that they want it. And it's very important for you to do this as well. What people tell you they want is almost always surface. Almost always. I can't tell you how many times people said, I want to make another $8,000 per month. And then we get into unhashing this. And when it comes down to it, they want to retire someone in their family, or they just got a divorce and their child's sick and they need a lifestyle change because they're losing their family, or there's a lot of things that are always happening in the background and under the surface that you have to get to understand why people want what they want. Maybe people have lost their jobs. Maybe, regardless of the industry that you're in, I don't want to keep coming up with example after example, but regardless of your industry, there is a layer underneath the surface layer that you want to get to. So why do you want to get there? What is the motivation, John, for getting to 140 grand a month? What's that even do for you? And you have to dig here. You have to find some emotion. If you don't find any emotion, it's best to just hop out of the conversation. So if people are like, I just want it, and I will say, but why? I just do. Okay, but why do you want it? What is it? What's that going to do for you? Well, isn't that like obvious? It's just a goal. Well, John, it doesn't sound like you really need that. It sounds like 13K is fine. Why do you really need help? If it's just a goal, what does it mean to you? And I'll keep prodding, and if I can't get anywhere, I'll just say it doesn't sound like you need help, man. It sounds like you're in a good spot. It doesn't sound like you have any reason to get to 140K a month, so I don't know what to do. And we'll end the call. But most of the time, that doesn't happen. Most of the time, people go with this, and they've never thought about it, really. They've never verbalized it. They never talked about it out loud. And so they go with this, and they'll say, well, here's why I want it. I want to do X, Y, Z, and I need this to make that happen. And say, okay, John, well, would getting that money have any impacts on any other areas of life that you want to tell me about? And they'll either say yes or no. Or you can say, is there anything else you feel like I need to know about why you want that goal? And that's just important. Asking this question is important because people feel like you're actually taking the time to be a human and you're actually taking the time to understand them. Is there anything else you want me to know, John, about your goal here and about why you want what you want? Okay, cool. So, John, you're currently making $13,000 a month. You want to get to $140,000 a month? We're down now to the responsibility section. Tell me, what is it that's stopping you from achieving this on your own? Paramount question. Huge question. Because now we're getting into the part where they have to accept personal responsibility. If they blame it on everyone else, bad sign. Not a client you want to work with. If you say, John, what's holding you back from achieving XYZ by yourself? And they say, well, the weather and my mom and my friends, and I hired a guy who was a liar and blah, blah, blah. Oof. Sounds like you've had a rough go. I don't know if... Are you saying that there's nothing you can take ownership of? Right? Like if they're not taking responsibility, that's not good. Most of the time, people are going to give you one of three answers. Nothing's holding me back, Taylor. You guys are already doing it. And I would like to have the guidance of someone who's already there. All right. Or nothing's really holding me back. I could figure it out. I just want to do it faster. And I know that to accelerate the curve, I need to get someone on board. Or I've tried everything. I just don't know what to do. I can't do it on my own. Maybe I could figure it out. I don't know. But I've tried a lot of things and it hasn't worked. You want to get one of those three answers, the responsibility acceptance that is going to allow this person to make an investment into their life. Okay. And then you move on to the next couple questions, and I'll say, John, cool, thank you for that. I have just a couple more questions, and then we're going to switch gears, okay? You're making $13 a month. Tell me, what is it that awesome. You're making $13 a month. Tell me, why not just stay where you are? And you're just giving them another opportunity to tell you why it actually is important. This is the cost of doing nothing. Again, you're rehashing the cost of doing nothing. Why not just stay at $13,000 a month? Or you're 70 pounds overweight. I realize you want to change that, but why? Why not just stay at 70 pounds overweight? At least you're alive and you have a family. You're getting people to actually come clean again and tell you why they have to make a change. Okay, awesome, John. Thanks for that. And is this affecting any other area of your life that I need to know about? Is there anything else you want me to know about how this is affecting you? Again, you're just rehashing. You guys need to go through the script like verbatim, like hit every question on this sheet for your specific industry. If you're in the health, you don't need to focus as much on the money, or if you are selling personal development or things like that. But every single question is so important. For instance, is there anything else you want me to know about how this is having an effect on your life? People are going to give you details here, and they're going to actually reinforce the fact that they have to make a change today. Okay? And then John, tell me, when are you wanting to take care of this? Like, when are you actually wanting to set the pace and start fixing this in your life? And most of the time at this point, they'll be like ASAP, or yesterday, or like tomorrow. Okay? If they say, 3 months from now, then you have a problem. You have a problem because you've just taken these people through an emotional journey where they have admitted to you how much they need to change, and then they're saying, I need to change in 3 months. You say, why 3 months from now? Why, if you need all of these things in your life, if you need your business to change, why would you wait 3 months before starting? What's up with that? They'll say, I want to start today. I just think it'll take me 3 months to get there. And sometimes that'll happen. People have a misunderstanding or something like that about the question. You say, nope, it may take 3 months, but when do you want to start? When do you want to actually wake up in the morning and say, I'm doing everything that I can to make this reality come true for me? Okay. And if they're like, no, I'm just like moving and stuff, and 3 months is a good time. And then I'll say, okay, call me back in 3 months. See ya. I'm not even going to go to the close. And then you want to get into this next part, which is the gap. So you say something like, okay, John, well, we can help you with that. Would you like me to tell you what it is exactly that we do? And they'll say, yeah, I would love for you to tell me about what it is that you do. And I say, okay, well, and then you go into your close. And this is super important. Our area of expertise is helping, service providers and coaches and consultants get clients coming to them at will and on demand. This is our close, by the way. You want to change this for yours. The point is you want to make this first part of the close different than the explanation of your offer. So you've got your close, you've got your offer, break them apart. Most people are trying to cram all of this in the close, and they'll just talk for days, and it's too much. So you keep it to like 30 seconds max. Our expertise is helping service providers, coaches, and consultants get clients coming to them, right, on demand. So we typically work with people who need more clients, they need more dependability, more control, and they need to really balance their schedules and automate part of their client acquisition so that they can deliver their product and have consistency of income without working themselves to death. And then you pause. There's nothing else that happens here. You don't ask them a question. You don't say, would you like to know what it looks like, or would you like to know what the cost is? You just shut up. All right, that's the last thing. And what happens here is all of a sudden the table gets turned upside down to where you're no longer asking questions, the prospect has to ask questions. And so everything pivots around to where now they're going to start feeling like they have to qualify themselves, and you're making the decision about whether you're going to work with them or not. Okay? So people will say, okay, sounds awesome. Sounds cool. Are you there? Yep, I'm here. Well, I'm here. What do you think? I think it's cool. Awesome. I'm going to make them ask me to tell them about it. So they'll say, how does it work? Or what does it look like? Or can you tell me more? And I'll say, yeah, I can tell you anything you'd like to know. What would you like to know? Say, how does it work? Okay, well, we take in clients for about 2 months. We take them through our acquisition system. We give people, this is when you're giving people a little more detail. And it's broken up. The focus is getting you to mastery, selling one thing, build the system around that. And within 15 to 20 days, you're going to have some applications and some leads coming in. The whole system is going to take you about 60 days to build, but we move really quickly. And you shut up again. Okay? And people freak out here. They don't know what to do. They're used to being sold to. They're not used to the person on the other end of the phone just shutting up and not needing anything. And so this is actually a extremely persuasive part of the script, and it just requires you to put yourself on mute and to shut up. And people literally will go through this process of trying to figure out what you're doing, and they'll ask you questions, and they'll say, well, what do I need to do to get started? You say, well, we can get started today on the phone if you'd like. How does that work? Oh, we just usually take credit cards right over the phone, and it enrolls you and it unlocks all the training. We get you into the masterminds, and then it's all step by step in the email that I'm going to send you exactly what you need to do and when. And then it'll dawn on them they haven't asked about the price. What does it cost? You say, well, the investment for the workshop is just $5,500, or the investment for training with me is just $7,500, and then nothing. And it's amazing. People will fidget around, and they'll make excuses. And if they don't ask a question, don't respond. So don't respond to comments or things that you think are objections. Don't respond to any of that. Say, well, I just don't have the time right now. Just keep your mouth shut. If they don't ask you a direct question, don't answer. Because what's happening is the person is looking for a release or an out to where they can make an excuse. And when you just kind of sit there with the silence, then what happens on the other end is they're thinking through all their excuses and they don't have any. And so they'll say, I wouldn't be interested if I had the money. I would love to do this. I don't have the time, but I would love it. I'm interested in it. Hello, are you there? Yep, I'm here. Well, yeah, I would do it if I had the time. I just don't have the time. I'd love to. I feel like you guys have a great product. I would do it. I would love to do it. How much time does it take a day? Oh, it takes about an hour and a half a day. Oh, well, that's okay. That's not that much, but still, it's too much money. I won't be able to do it. Hello? Are you there? I'm here. And they'll do this, and they'll try to talk themselves in and out of it. And literally, we've had people at the end where they're like, I would do it. I wish I could do it. I just don't have the money. I just don't have the money. Do you have a payment plan? Yep, we do. 2 payments. Oh, man, that's still too much. I would love to do it. Do you take Amex? Yep, we do. Okay, I've got my Amex. I'm ready. And they'll literally talk themselves right into it. And the reason is because you're just leaving them alone. You've taken them through the process where on the very top of their mind, they're aware of the price of doing nothing, and they're aware of the cost of staying stuck, and they're aware of what they want and what it's going to take to get there. And although they would love to turn and run because the investment is high, they can't do that to themselves. And so they'll talk themselves in and out because you're staying put and you're staying out of it. They're going to sell themselves. And if they don't, then they don't. Now, previously we used a fast action discount. So on the phone, we would say, if you make the decision today, I'll just cut off, $3,000 from the investment to encourage people to make a decision. We don't do that anymore. I just started feeling like that was just a gray area as far as almost manipulating, and I just didn't like it anymore. So we don't even do that. And what we found is we don't have to. The closing percentage, once we stopped doing that, didn't go down. In fact, it went up because people will not feel pressured. And then sometimes people have to think about it. If they have to think about it, that's fine. Or they may have to talk to their spouse about it. And so on this sheet, we've got some things that you can go through and look through. But if someone's like, I just have to talk to my spouse about it, I'll say, that's awesome. I would recommend that, actually. Do you mind if I give you some coaching on how to talk to her? I say, yeah. So just explain how our conversation went, what you really want, and explain that you're willing to put in the work and to put in the time and to really make sure that this investment pays off for you. And if you commit to doing that, we commit to getting on board with you. We'll walk through the gates of hell with you, and we'll make sure that this pays off for you. And if she needs to hop on a call with me, that's fine too. Let her know that I'm more than happy to hop on and answer any questions she has. Okay. But when do you think you will have talked to her by? And I'll set a deadline. Tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Central. Okay. Let's set an appointment for 2 days from now at noon. Does that work for you? Okay. And then I'll set the deadline and I will get the other appointment on the books. And this is our follow-up system. Sometimes people aren't going to give you, $8,000 on the phone. A lot of times they will. But if they need to talk to someone, set the deadline, stay in charge, and then put another time on the calendar so that it's in the books and you can follow back up with them. All right. Now, sometimes people have seen me talk about this follow-up system and they've led with the follow-up system. In other words, when they get to the close, they'll say, well, the investment is $5,500. Take all the time you need to think about it, and we can set up another appointment later this week. Don't do that. That's not the game. That's not how you do it. Setting up the follow-up is literally a reaction if they have to think about it. A lot of people, if you put them in this position, they are going to decide to make an investment into themselves and into their futures. Don't take away or deviate from that by telling them they have as much time as they need to think about it. Let them make a decision. If you feel like they're not going to close on the phone, it doesn't matter. Shut up. You're not the expert at reading people right now. Just follow the script. Let them decide. And if they tell you, I have to talk to my wife, or I have to take 3 days to think about it, well, what do you need to take 3 days to think about for, sir? Is there something in particular that you think we can discuss right now? Nope, I just don't make any decisions on the phone, and I have to take 3 days to think about it. All right, well, I would say, okay, well, how about you get back in touch with me? I'll follow up with you on Facebook in 3 days and we can discuss. I mean, I'll let people follow up. But one of the most important things, and we need to talk about this more, is how to read when someone has more, when you can push someone a little bit more, versus when you're going to break them if you keep pushing them. And if you follow the script, if you take them, once you get down to part 11, most likely the people who are in, they're going to go ahead and invest right then and there. And so don't give them an out or say it's 5,500 and to get in you have to put down a deposit of 500, because you're basically giving people two options. People make decisions when they have one option. It's either do nothing and continue to stay stuck, or make an investment and move forward. And that one option of moving forward is important. You don't want to give them 7 options to move forward. Okay. So what I would do is I would take this document, make a copy, change it for your market and your product, print it out, and then watch this video again. Watch it a couple times. Let it get kind of into you, how we take people through our flow. And then grab a notebook, your next consultation or your strategy session, take manual notes, slow down, be okay with the silence, learn to embrace that silence as a weapon, and then let us know how it goes. Talk soon.